Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I'm saying goodbye to a watch that I really enjoyed reviewing and a watch that I really enjoyed wearing. Today I'm saying goodbye to this Caribbean Teal Lost at Sea from Shipwrecked Watch Company. But this is a very good thing, not a bad thing. This is a prototype that was kindly loaned to me by Andrew, the founder at Shipwrecked Watch Company. I had a chance to share my first impressions in an earlier video, so please check that out by using the provided links. But before this watch goes back to Shipwrecked Watch, it's going to go on a little watch tour. This watch is going to a host of other fellow watch reviewers so they could share their perspective on it. Dive Time Watch Reviews already had his hands on a blue prototype. I'll leave a link to that review, and I'm also going to share all of the reviewers' channels in the description so you can check them out. It's a great collaboration because it gives you, the viewer, a chance to see the same watch in the hands of others. Different wrist sizes, different tastes and styles, different strokes for different folks. Once I'm done, this watch is going to Big Wrist Syndicate so he could give you his take on this watch with his own style. And when he's done, it's on to the next. But for now, I got it, and I'm going to share my final thoughts on this watch and if I think it's a good buy. But let's get the latter part out of the way right now. Yes, this is a very good buy. It's a good buy at twice the price. I don't need to build up suspense on this watch. This is a great watch, well worth the retail price. It's an awesome deal if you could still get an early bird price on Kickstarter. I'll leave a link to their Kickstarter campaign while you still have time. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on what I already went over in my first impressions. So if you want to know what I said or see the other colorways I touched on, go check out that video. A quick tale of the tape according to my measurements. The case measures 41 millimeter. From the 20 mark to the 50 mark, that's where I typically like to check measurements. Across the bezel from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it measures at 40 millimeter as stated. The lug to lug measured at the end links is 48.2 millimeters. A lug width of 20 millimeters, and I measured the thickness to be right at 12.7 millimeters thick as stated. Size to my 7.5 inch wrist, this watch tips the scales at 171 grams. This is a prototype and there will be changes to the production model. One of the first changes that you will see are the clouds. Above the waves and just at the lower part of the horizon, there's 3 clouds there. Those will be omitted from the production model. That's also been pointed out in the Kickstarter campaign. I personally think it's a good idea to remove them because it really opens up the dial more with less clutter and it allows you to focus on more details within the dial, like that 3D texture in the waves below and the swirling winds in the horizon above. This dial has so much depth and detail, you wonder how they stuffed it all in less than 13 millimeters. Change number 2 of this watch is the sandblasting on the steel bezel. It'll be slightly refined, giving it a little bit more pop. I think it looks pretty good now, so I'll be interested to see how they improve on it. And change number 3 is the bezel. This has some play. This has been identified in the prototype, and it will be corrected in the production models. The watch was shipped to me in a watch roll that's not specific to this watch, so I won't be showing it. The production models will ship in a genuine leather watch pouch and a gift box. Now, having worn this watch for a while, I'll tell you that this is very comfortable with just the right amount of weight. The bracelet is one of the nicest H-link design bracelets that I have seen thanks to its aggressive, sharp, edgy angles. But it only looks sharp and edgy. Wearing it, there are no sharp edges. The brushed underside is super smooth and it doesn't pull a single hair from these masculine arms. My friends have busted me on saying I need to shave my arms. Not happening. The clasp is large, but with 6 positions of on-the-fly micro adjust, I'm not going to complain. In Florida, I'm adjusting it all the time. I put on-the-fly clasps on all of my watches, so it's nice for a change to see one already on the watch. Just for fun, I popped off the bracelet using a quick release spring bars and threw it on a 12mm black FKM rubber strap I had just to see how it looked, and it looked great. But with all the detail that went into this bracelet, it would be criminal not to use it. I misplaced my diamond tester, I can't seem to find it, so I can't officially test the exhibition case back, but it does feel cool to the touch to suggest that it is sapphire. The Miyota 9015 this watch houses is a great movement. Looks-wise, there's not a whole lot to it though. But you have this custom rotor that just makes it awesome. It's not your typical rotor with just a decal applied to it. This is a wheel helm. A killer skull wheel helm with bones as spokes and a detailed jaw as the king spoke. Just phenomenal work here. I thought about tossing this on a time grapher, but since this is a production model, really what is the point? The case like the bracelet, is smooth and almost slick feeling. It's great how they knock down the bling by going brushed throughout. For this watch, it was the right call. I think if this watch had a high polish coupled with that dial, it would just be too flashy. And speaking of the dial, it's what this watch is really all about. The more you look at it, the more new things you see. This is their Caribbean Teal version. In the sun, it's a beautiful teal. The white cap splitting that teal horizon looks amazing. Move to the shade and that horizon shifts to become greener. And while I noticed the minute chapter ring around the dial, I didn't really notice the chapter ring around the dial. Looking at it closely, I noticed the minute markers on the upper half of the dial are white, while the markers on the lower half are teal. I took a look at the other colorways and they're the same. The top half of the minute markers are white, then flip to match the dial color across the bottom. It's just another fantastic touch after fantastic touch. As for the cons, I didn't find anything new that I didn't already point out in my first video. The pip on the bezel should be bigger to allow more lume. The serrations on the bezel should be a little more aggressive to allow better grip. And as I've said, a watch of this quality should have screw pin links instead of push pin links. But I've kind of softened on that one. Yes, screws are nice, but once this watch is sized, you're never messing with the links again thanks to this adjustable clasp. At the beginning of the video, I said yes, this is a good buy. The year is still young and I expect to review a lot of watches. But as we head into the second quarter of 2026, this watch is in the running as my watch of 2026. The early bird deals on the Shipwrecked Kickstarter campaign are fantastic deals. A Microbrand with a movement featured here, with the specs featured here, for a price of $375 to $499 depending on the time of purchase, is a good price for an homage. But here you're getting all of the above, and it's not an homage. You're getting an original design. Even the bezel, one of the most copied designs of all, is different here. So the price on this watch isn't good, it's epic. If you're buying the entire 7-piece collection, the price per watch drops down to a ridiculous $285 per watch, an absolutely insane value. And speaking of value, I hope you found value in this video. And if you did, please take a second to like, hype, subscribe, comment, thank, share. Whatever you can do to support the channel would be greatly appreciated. Thanks again as always, and I'll see you in the next video.